Hello, and we're live.
And we're live. That's fantastic. We're live and we're going to get tunes going. There's got the links up.
There
People
we go.
can join. They can have good times.
And let's just play us in.
I read the news today, a two-bit expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged, you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, look right in, across its way under your skin. Just got out from the things they spout, and it will make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's the grounds. The good news is you can't have coffee, that sweet, sweet nectar of good old Uncle Pete, without the grounds. The most unique show on 21.6 The Net. Join us. Hit the link. Come on over. Be part of. Have a cup of coffee with Uncle Pete and Scott Giles this morning. Of course, Triple G, Giles, Gold, the Grounds, all brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Reese's Barkery. Reese's Barkery in Pautique is an independent family-owned pet food and supply store that's open 7 days a week. They specialize in premium pet foods, have over 25 different flavors of locally sourced homemade treats for your dogs and cats. They also carry quite an array of collars, leashes, toys, and accessories. Come see how you can make a difference in the life of your pet today. The family cares about your pets, and they're invited. Bring them in. Let the pet shop around tell you what they like. Check them out at www.reesesbarkery.com, 815-363-7297, or stop on by 1313 North Riverside Drive, right here in good old McHenry, Illinois, 60050. Well, let's get into the grounds. We got Don. We got
Good
Pete.
morning, Don. How you
We're
doing?
looking at Giles. He's MIA.
MIA. Doors open. So, but hey, here we go. We'll
Carol, good morning.
It's the missing G.
I don't know what we're going to do.
Hey, well,
I do know what we're going to do.
yeah, I was going to say.
Good morning, Carol. How are you? And Don, wonderful to see you here.
Good to see you, Pete.
And we got, on my list today, because we were getting into it last week, I've got capitalism versus free market. Do we want to go hard and heavy on that, or do we want to be flipping light with it? I mean, we were in fact, Michael that was here last night on when he got here a little early with Derek, we were talking about capitalism versus free market a bit. And he's a sharp guy, that Michael.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's an attorney.
Well, anybody can be an attorney. Doesn't make him a sharp guy.
Oh.
I mean, all you got to do is
a little bit of truth to that.
Just got to study a little bit, right, Pete?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I've met all kinds of people in all kinds of professions that, whilst they manage to pass the test, pass the tests and such.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't work with them after talking to them.
No.
I've met a lot of intelligent people that weren't that smart.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I resemble that remark.
I present company included.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know. When I put on a sports coat, I tend to look very professorial.
You do. You should have one of those pipes and just.
I used to smoke pipes like crazy.
Just walk around with it.
Just walk around with a pipe and just look like I know.
Because you could have that pipe. You could actually have that pipe hang out the side of your mask. And still be masked. I think you'd still be masked. Yeah. That's a good Sherlock Holmes one.
Actually, I had a Sherlock Holmes one.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I had like a lot of pipes at one point in time. I don't know. Well, I do know why I quit smoking them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And why is that, Pete?
They were a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's all it worked.
A pipe is a lot of work. Well, you had a pipe for a little while.
Yeah, I still do.
You still have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't had it in here.
Yeah, when I go camping, I pipe.
Yeah. So, but they're a lot of work. I mean, you gotta get the tobacco. Then you if it's a new pipe, you gotta work through flavoring the bowl.
Yeah,
and you gotta have your filters. You gotta have your cleaners. And it takes a while to smoke a bowl.
One of my favorite. It does. One of my favorites was corn. I had a nice corncob pipe.
Oh yeah,
it was seasoned well. It was nice.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah.
They can be nice. They're difficult to make. I thought I could make one once upon a time.
Oh, really? You tried?
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
It
not so good.
You have to have it. You have to start with an extremely dry cob. There can be no moisture in the cob whatsoever. And then I learned that you actually have to get a special coating on the outside that will not catch fire. Don't use Varathane.
That doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
For all you kids out there making corncob pipes,
yeah,
don't use Varathane.
Do a Varathane coating. I thought it would put a nice clear shell.
Yeah, nice
on it. You could still polish it up. You could still see the corncob and hollowed it out. But the Varathane doesn't go well
like with the flame.
And you do not want to inhale smoke from
Varathane.
From Varathane. No way, no how. So now that we've talked about that pipes and such.
That's right.
So
you
Don,
know what you're going to learn on this show, Pete, right?
Yeah. What do you learn, Don? What do you think? What are your thoughts on capitalism versus free market?
Oh boy. Well, it's, to me, obviously one of the things that people grapple with is just the definitions of those things, which is why I think the conversations get complicated. So, and I think people try to complicate it more than it is, but I'm not against the conversation. I mean, it's one of those where we can see where it goes. And the reality is we often go off onto a tangent anyway, right?
That's correct.
Well, we just opened with pipes.
That's right.
And Shayna came in it takes a while to smoke a bowl.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Well,
That's why she was late. That's why she was late this morning.
Yeah.
So
edibles. Eat a $25 chocolate piece.
So, but yeah, whoops, what the heck?
I don't know.
Well, that's not good. Anyway, no. I'm sharing things out, and I thought I had finished a little typing thing.
So why is capitalism bad?
Oh, I don't think it's bad at all.
Oh.
No. Yeah, I don't think it's bad at all, but people put things on capitalism, the people that don't like it because it's a system made up of people. Any system made up of people is going to have problems. But from a system standpoint, I think history has demonstrated it's probably it's brought more people out of poverty in the world than any other system in the world. But it has, just like any system, it's got its problems because there are people working inside that system who take advantage of it.
What is your definition of capitalism then?
Basically, to me, it's when in general, it is an economic system inside like a country or whatever that it's controlled by property owners that are private, not the government, in its simplest definition. Private property, private ownership, private investment versus state or government doing some or a majority or all of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's by and large, that's how our country was founded, was by capitalists. Capitalists have to have capital. In order for capitalism to even work, you have to have capital. You have to have someone who has the means, financial means and monies to start a thing.
Takes money to make money, right?
Yeah. Now, and that's wherein capitalism is, and as isms go, I'm not unhappy with capitalism.
Correct.
It's one of the few, right?
Yeah. Now, but that's not the same as we were talking about last week as a free market, because you do not have to have a big bankroll, a big wad, a big, anything you do not have to have ample supplies of monies, of capital to enter the free market.
Correct.
Right.
You can enter the free market with an idea and a minimal set of skills. Yeah. And say, this is what I can do.
That's right.
And a dream.
And a dream.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because the free market, it's basically how prices are determined is through competitive means and things of that nature, not artificial things. So, and to your point then, Pete, yeah, that's just you and I entering into an agreed upon relationship economically as free market. You got something I want to buy, I give you money for it. Nobody gets in the way. That's a free market.
That is a free market.
So there you go.
Not that complicated, but we what happens is people want to do it a different way, so they will, bash certain aspects of it, legitimate problems with it. And I think that's what we're dealing with these days is people want a different system. We'll just bash the fact that, there's wealthy people in the country and they may not spend the money they want them to, the way they want them to. But it has, I'm sure people would argue, but I don't think you can argue that capitalism has brought more people out of poverty than any system in the history of the world.
Well, no, it hasn't. But that's what capitalism usually comes from, people who want to build and make things.
Right. Yeah, used to be. Yeah, more so in the past, the industrial age, right?
Oh, in the industrial age. Now we have the information age, but you still have people who are building information and technology structures, networks, creations, things like that. So this is a different type of building.
It is funny, and it's Pete. I think what it's also done too is if you look back at the people building the railroad, the Rockefellers, the Mellons, in the early days. They were building something and then investing in it and had long term. But now one of the kind of good and bad about the new age is, boy, some people can make a boatload of money really, really fast on a relative basis. And like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing because it creates wealth. But it is different, the fact that it seems like it's what I used to say when I used to work in the internet business, a lot of things when I was in the sales world, every time we sold something, nothing was ever made and sent to someone. A switch was flipped somewhere or a router was turned on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't tangible. It was just something out there in the ether.
Yeah. So I am curious as to where they keep these boats that are loaded with cash.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, it's, you've seen marinas.
Yeah. No, I mean, the boats are not cheap. I get that. But now that we've talked about capitalism and free market, I'm really fucking bored with this conversation. I'm sorry.
That's about it.
I had a feeling it sounded good and exciting.
It sounded great in my head. It really did. Yeah. But I'm done. I'm bored. And I'm
what was you going to talk about cars, Pete? I'll stick around.
I don't have anything to talk about cars anyway. So, we had the gun show last night, so we don't have to talk about guns either. So, with Derek Bear, he had that great guest.
Yeah, good show.
Mm-hmm. But, I didn't, what's on it? I got nothing on my freaking mind. My mind at the moment is like it's much like my bucket.
I think the real question is, where's Scott?
That's what's on my mind is what happened to Scott.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have not heard from hide nor hair from him since he was in his car trying to jump.
Yeah, last I know he went to Iowa. Maybe he got Children of the Corn out there or something.
I don't know. Maybe I've not heard hide nor hair.
School.
Right.
It's funny, Deke. Look how hard he tried to get into the show last week when he's sitting in his driveway.
Right.
And now he's nowhere to be found. Huh?
Nowhere.
Let's just hope he's okay, first of all.
Yeah.
That's my first concern because because it's usually he'll text or call or something.
I doubt he forgot that it's the day of the show, right?
No, I don't think he forgot either. So I'm hoping, like you said,
just between me and you as station owners, he's not getting paid for this episode.
Not today.
This is unpaid time off.
I'm a capitalist.
Yeah, this is UTO, unpaid time off.
That's right.
So there you go.
Well, I assume you guys are texting him, right?
I don't. Okay. Not me. That's not.
I did. I texted him.
Okay.
I just said, hey,
not my turn to babysit him.
Yeah, I know. It's
Pete's day. It's Pete's day.
I'll ask. I don't mind.
Yeah. So I got a question, and I was just thinking about this. Is every day I look at some news, and on there's a ticker for the COVID, right? Yeah. And the ticker hasn't stopped counting COVID fatalities.
Mhm.
However, when you go to the CDC, when you go to places like that, usually what happens is on it's annualized. So like
Okay.
January 1, 2021, we would have started a new count.
Right. Okay.
Why aren't we doing that with the
Well, it doesn't
COVID?
look as good.
Because we
It doesn't look as big.
didn't hit the 500,000 till after 2021, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we annualize everything else.
Right. Everything.
But so, Geek, you're saying we didn't start the count over on January 1, is what you're saying? We're keeping the big number on CDC? I haven't been to their site.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Well, hey, if it was 10,000 on there, people wouldn't be as scared.
Well, I don't think people are scared.
I don't think people are scared.
You guys don't think people are scared?
I have run into a few people who are. And very recently, I sat down at a meeting and I was asked, "Are you fully immunized?" Or no,
vaccinated.
They said, "Can we ask if you are fully vaccinated?" And I said,
"You can ask."
Sure. And I just sat there for a moment,
waiting for them to ask.
Waiting for them to ask if I was fully vaccinated.
Right.
And they're just staring at me. I said, "Well, are you going to ask?" And then they go, "Oh,
all right."
You're a funny guy.
But it's kind of, I don't know. This whole thing is just. I don't have what is considered a popular, or I have a nonconformist attitude with all this.
Well, that's interesting.
I'm not going to. I can't conform. I can't buy into the fear. It's not there. I've spent the entire year. I got tested many times.
Mm-hmm.
Negative every single time.
Yeah.
And hey, Melinda, top of the morning to you as well.
Hey, Melinda.
But nothing. You and your family went through it.
Yeah.
And you did just fine. I know
Correct.
other people who went through it and did just fine. And I will say, I believe that many, many people had a coronavirus, but the common cold and many, many other strains which are relative to the common cold are coronaviruses. Sure. My concern and my great puzzlement is, since we do not have a traditional vaccine in every sense, and they modified the definition legally of a vaccine, push what we have out. What we have out is a medication. It's a medical tool. It's not a vaccine, as it does not contain any of the actual virus, much like we had for polio, the measles, mumps, all of that stuff that was an actual vaccine, wherein they introduce your body to a tiny amount of the actual virus. By the way, piloted by damn it, her name was just on the top of my head.
Amelia Earhart.
No, she but the whole concept of vaccination was piloted by Russia. What was her name? Catherine the Great. When they had the Great Plague, and her idea was to, we're going to inject or ingest. They did it through ingestion, a bit of the plague for your body to
fight it off.
And so, we can thank her for that amazing idea. Now, what we have now is a prototyped protein. Mm-hmm. It's both biologic and synthetic, and it's an estimated synthesized protein for your body to say, this is a protein. I'm going to fight it off. I'm going to be aware of it. And it's actually even coded in nanotechnology so that it slips past most of your immune system, because normally your immune system would go after any kind of injection like this and kill it right away. It's what immune systems are for. And I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV. I have relatives who are in the medical industry, and I've done a lot of looking and a lot of reading. I won't call it research. To me, research means something different, but I've done a lot of reading and a lot of personal investigation. And so now we have what's being injected into people, which technically is not a vaccine.
Right.
It's a protein. Protein contains no virus. My question is why? I know that it's a very fast way to do this. I understand that, the speed of manufacturing, processing, but wherein are all of these samples? Because many millions of people have been tested, myself included, which resulted in eggs. Where are the many millions of samples of the virus that was apparently detected? Because those have to exist in order for the test to become positive.
Mhm.
If it's actually testing for the C4, the Corona 4, which is actually the COVID-19 virus, where are those samples? Why aren't those available? Where have they gone? Why for, and how come those samples could not be used to engineer a virus that's been proven, the proven method of a virus, actual virus, antivirus, a vaccine to work?
Mhm.
Where are those? Well, they can't find them, and the CDC has said, well, we don't have any. Well, huh?
Mhm.
CDC themselves have said they have no samples of the actual virus. Then, well, for me, I need to start there. If you have no samples, yet apparently millions have been tested, and it has been found,
Mhm.
are you has not a single sample from the test been harvested? Because that's generally where you find and harvest samples of a virus, is by testing those who have it.
Mhm.
So
What's your question though, Pete? I want to make
my
sure I understand what
question
you're
is,
asking.
where the frick is this actual virus?
Gotcha.
Where is it? Now, I will
we've all heard-
concede many people had a coronavirus. Absolutely, without question.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not a hoax.
But, that is not a hoax.
Mhm.
That, however, is it's a bad cold. And yes, I know people have died. And I know the great many numbers, which they have now come out and said the great many numbers in actuality are due to comorbidities.
Right.
Well, that's always been a thing. If you've got
Mhm.
heart disease, if you've got a reduced immune system, if you've got any medical condition that can be worsened or emphasized by contracting a cold, the flu, pneumonia, as things progress, you stand a great chance of dying, but you don't die necessarily from
Right. With.
that virus. You die with it because it impacted your significant comorbidity.
Mhm.
So I would like someone to maybe kind of sort of really truly explain that, and I don't want someone saying, oh, well, it's the science. Where is it then? Because it's not been shown.
Well,
I can't find it.
So the interesting thing with the vaccine, and you get tested to see if you have the antibodies.
Right.
The science, ladies and gentlemen, will speak to, it doesn't matter what kind of antibodies that you have. It's your T cells
Correct.
that fight off, right?
Bingo.
And that
T cells
attack.
do the fighting.
So someone like me who fought this flu virus, COVID-19, for 14 days, I tell people, I'm like, listen, you have been vaccinated. Hallelujah. Good for you. I fought it for 14 days. So if we really want to take a look at whose immunity will last longer, perhaps, from this, it's mine, because my body went through this for 14 days. So I have more T cells in place to fight this. This week, 3 times this week, and I don't know why this week, but hey, are you vaccinated? Yes. I didn't get a vaccine shot, But if you want to talk about my immunity is probably stronger than most because I fought this for 14 days. Now, my opinion may be a little bit different if I just lost my taste and smell for a couple of days, right? Yeah, you can do that with a common cold, those type of things. And the mRNA, even though it does not, it's just got the protein.
Right.
The idea behind that science is it's meant to teach your body how to build up an immunity towards it without having the actual virus in you.
Correct.
Right. And for the most part, and I did a show on this back, I don't know, last, November, December, is for the most part, scientists feel that what's in these vaccinations, the long-term side effects or any type of side effect, the good it does outweighs that.
Yeah,
and that's why we're able to use them.
Well, I mean, look at the side effect of many of these drugs. And Melinda says, Pete, I agree. I'm 56 and have not gotten the vax. It's my choice. Absolutely, I agree. Shayna says, just saw a report that folk will likely need another shot in the fall. Well, they want to sell you another, I'm sure. And even I'm trying to think about my words very carefully here.
Trying to stay on the air, Pete?
Yeah, kind of. Here's the thing. Many people say, well, it's the shot is free. It's free.
No, it's not.
Well, it depending on where you are and how you get it and how it comes to you, that can be true. Gary, good evening. How you doing? The shot is it doesn't cost you anything. Well, here's the thing. If you look at bringing medications, vaccines, highest among them, into play, into the market, there is a halt at 50, I think it's 50 deaths per, I can't remember now. Oh, dang it. 50 deaths either per 1,000 or per 10,000. We blew past that already, like way past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so
from the vaccine.
Yeah. So
there's been more fallout than like a 15 stretch year period for all vaccines.
Yeah. So I humbly, I will let everybody who does that be the guinea pig, and I will watch for the long-term effects. And again, I think
here's the real issue is this.
Will make the money on the treatment from that.
The real issue is this. If you're driving down the road and you see me not wearing a seatbelt, do you stop and yell at me?
No.
Or stop me and yell at me? No. What do you say?
Cops might.
You go, yeah, good luck, buddy. You're going to go flying through that windshield. You get in an accident.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. Why do you give a shit about me? Let's be honest. Why? Why do you care if I'm vaccinated or I'm not vaccinated? If you're vaccinated, you should feel safe enough in any environment,
no matter what,
that you don't have to wear 2 masks. And that, now, here's the blessing. Now, I'm going to look at the bright side of this. Here's the blessing. And this is what most people tend not to look at. We want to get angry if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, or why not? Hey, that's my choice. I can smoke. I can take heroin. I can kill myself any way that I want to. It's none of your business. Right. Here's the deal. Here's the good news. The good news now is, hey, if you've got the flu, maybe you're going to stay home now.
Yeah. Well, see that,
right?
I think that is wonderful.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
From a workplace culture here in the U.S., we now have shifted from, dude, and because I have literally been in this situation. I have been in an office throwing up in a trash can because God freaking forbid I take a day off from where I was employed.
Yeah, right. We've all done it.
Oh, you've got all these sick days, all these PTO days, but paid time off days. We want you to take them, blah, blah, blah. When you're hired. Oh, you better be in here. Don't even think about taking a sick day.
That's right.
And Deke, to take that even further, Deke, because I agree that's going to be a positive side effect, for lack of a better term, is, and the fact that people have learned, and I think there were a lot of employers, or I'll say bosses, that were a little worried that, if you let Sally work at home or Johnny work at home, they're not going to work as hard. And I think we've overcome a lot of that. And the whole idea of being sick, yeah, I think it's great now that people won't go home. But I think of myself, there's been a lot of times I went to work when I wasn't feeling well, and may not have been a great decision, but it was because I didn't feel bad enough to lay in bed and sleep all day. To me, that's sick. If I call in sick, I'm laying in bed sleeping, so don't bother me. But now I have the option of maybe if I just don't feel well and I don't want to give it to someone else, I can still get online and do my work.
And thank you, because that is key. Don't bring your illness, because, as the owner of a company with many employees at one point in time, if you're sick, stay home. I don't want you bringing it in here and sharing it with people. I truly don't.
Yeah, right.
Take care of yourself. Even if that means you wake up, you got, sniffles or runny nose, and you think, oh, I can still come to work. I can still make it. Because again, long ago, been there, done that. Do not be the person in my office throwing up in a trash can. I don't want you here.
Pete, totally agree with you, but you know what's going to happen. It's going to go the other way too. I wake up in the morning and go, oh, I'm sick. Boss can't be in today. You know that's going to happen too. So.
Yeah, no, and that's all right. That's all right.
Little Johnny's going to be sick about 4 days a week. I'm not sick enough to take a day off, but I'm
sick
enough.
Sick days. I mean,
home.
there's still the laws. There's still the HR regulations and guidelines.
There are.
Yep.
So, and Melinda says the choice will remain. However, the ability to buy groceries in a store may be impeded. So grow a garden. So I don't think that it's ever going to be impeded. Not in the United States. We're going to hit herd immunity. Everybody's going to feel fine. Everything's opening back up. This is not a plot to become a socialist country. It's not. It was a virus. It's a real virus. Mm-hmm. And it was a pandemic around the world. Look at how many deaths, right?
It went all around the world.
All around the world.
Yeah. And again, I don't dispute that at all.
It's not a plot, Deke, but it's certainly trying to be used by some people.
Give me an example.
Well, as people have said, don't ever let, politically speaking, and we don't do politics.
This is peanut butter discussion now. This is
peanut butter discussion. But there have been people in certain political parties and politicians themselves, one very specifically, who said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, you want to use something to get you voted and kept in office. Fear is a beautiful tool for politicians.
Sure.
It just simply is.
Pete, I'll give you one example. It's the whole idea of guaranteed income, and that's being kind of tested right now in the United States of America, and a lot of people are staying home because of it. So that's just one example. You asked me for an example, I'll give you one example.
So because of the money that's being handed out, you feel that people are staying home more?
Some are. Yeah, it's definitely having an impact on people, employers being able to hire people.
Okay, so some are.
Yeah, some, not all.
Some have always chose that.
True. I think that number is increasing because they got $360 a week extra. So I think it is a test of guaranteed income to see if we can get a lot of people to say that's something we must have. So therefore, it becomes more of a permanent policy, which I think is detrimental to our economic system.
The unemployment numbers would go against that then, as we continue to lower the unemployment numbers.
There's a problem with that line of thinking, though.
Thank you, Pete. Go ahead. I agree. Go ahead,
the unemployment numbers are not real time, and it's difficult to get real-time unemployment numbers. Unemployment numbers also do not reflect those that are off unemployment and are underemployed, or just simply have learned to live a lifestyle outside of working. It's not that hard to do because there are other governmental assistance programs that you can get that have been instituted since the pandemic and that are still in place. There are a larger amount of people who are declining job opportunities who are receiving unemployment benefits. That's a key difference. So if you look at that statistic, and all they really have to do is say, I'm not ready yet. And many states, I'm not ready. I don't feel comfortable. I'm, still scared. Now, it's it is actually impacting, these additional monies are actually impacting employers having a hard time insofar as competition with what people are able to put in their pockets by not working, directly put in their pockets by not working. That is a quantifiable issue right now, and employers are in competition with that. And then one of the other things too, and Gary, we love your face, and I'm going to have you talk here in a minute. But also, I do want to know what your shirt says. By the way, I can read. What is that?
Gigantor is the same shirt as the other day.
Same shirt as last week.
It's washed.
That's his Friday
It's
morning
washed.
shirt.
Gigantor. It's Gigantor.
Okay, there you go. But at any rate, one of the other things, Gary, or Don, not just testing or observing the effects of a guaranteed income, but also one of the things that happens with this is the spurning of a higher wage rate. A higher wage rate throughout the entire country. When you go back and look at history and look at the models between increases, not only in just minimum wage, and you cannot just look at minimum wage, but the average lower or entry level wage when it goes up is when you have it's in periods where you have more or substantially more governmental assistance through some of these, through programs like this and through crisis. Now, most employers are at a point where within the Chicagoland area, while Chicago's minimum wage this year is now $11 an hour and scheduled to go up to $15 an hour, $1 a year each year hereafter until we hit 2025 when it'll be at $15 an hour. That's minimum wage. Most employers at this point are already between 13 and 15 an hour here in the Chicagoland region just to compete with the state and federal wage assistance through unemployment and also through additional governmental financial support programs. So we're already seeing a push to increase menial work jobs, menial meaning very, very limited skill required, not much above beyond the ability to stand and do and function and breathe, which again, you're seeing these things increase. Now, don't anyone dare say, well, employers need to pay a living wage. Minimum wage was never meant to be a living wage.
Oh,
never.
Lord.
And before I keep going on and on about this, Gary, good morning. Why don't you say words now? Good morning, Ted.
I had morning to all evening if you are here. Oh, well, I got my second shot 2 days ago.
Yay,
so
congratulations.
I'm done.
Nice.
It's from mine was on Pfizer.
Any superpowers yet?
No, but I think the third MOOC may be growing. No, but it's interesting that Don was talking about things about medical leave and things like that. So it's a question which I always wanted to know. So is medical leave federally mandated in the employment in the US?
Medical leave?
Yes. So, for example, if you fall sick, you call in, you go to the doctor, you get a medical sheet or a medical certificate that you are exempted from work for the day. Is this a federally mandated medical leave system?
No.
He can probably answer. I don't think it is. I mean, a lot of employers will request that from you if you're going to miss, several days. But I don't think there's anything mandated. But it's not uncommon if you're going to be out a week sick, it's usually, can you get a doctor's note kind of thing, just put in your file so nobody later says, oh, Gary missed, a week 3 times. He's a bad employee. Well, no, he had legitimate reasons for being out.
Okay, so here in Singapore, the Employment Act is very powerful. So medical leave is mandated a minimum of 24 days. So every employee is entitled to 24 days of medical leave, no less than that, because that will be against the law. As long as they go to see a doctor, and as long as there's a medical sheet, what we call here in Singapore medical certificate, produced by a doctor, signed by a doctor, that's it. You are exempted from work for that day. So we don't call federal government here. We are just basically one government only. So it is a law that every employee has 24 days minimum of medical leave and 60 days minimum of hospitalization leave. Gotcha. So there's no two way around it. No employer can break this. It's highly, highly against the law.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah, yours is, we have the Family Medical Leave Act where people, both men and women, when they have children, and I think, Pete, you can correct me if I'm wrong, this family medical leave is not just babies, it's other things can trigger family medical leave time off, correct?
Any medical situation can trigger FMLA for employers who are mandated under FMLA to comply.
50 plus employees, right?
Oh, darn. 50 or more employees within a 75-mile radius of all employer-owned locations. Right. So
we have I just let you know, so we have maternity leave here. So maternity leave is a guaranteed government law. So maternity leave here in Singapore is 4 months for any female employee.
Ours is 3 months.
Yeah, so but it's mandated by law. So they cannot be shortchanged on the 4 months. Any company found to be firing them or giving them reasons or whatever, then they're going to get the full force of law slammed down upon them.
Right. Yeah, we do 12 weeks.
If you look at my body figure, I identify as a pregnant person.
There you go. So Deke's
I
taking
could
12 weeks off.
I mean, I could identify as somebody who's in their 15th trimester.
That's right.
I think Ken has a 24-month gestation period.
That's right.
So I'm due to give birth to
Any
probably
day now,
7 or 8 quintuplets.
Congratulations, Pete.
So out of curiosity, Pete, when your first job, minimum wage was what? Your first job?
I think I can't remember if it was $2.75 or $2.80 an hour.
Okay,
so
and
right
Don,
in there. It was under $3 an hour.
I don't remember, but that sounds familiar. It was somewhere in that range.
I think mine was. I think when I was 16, it was $3.50 an hour.
Yeah.
So you're upset.
I remember when it went up to $3.30.
So a little bit ago, you were talking about that. You're upset that minimum wage has gone up and continues to go up.
Minimum wage was designed to be a requirement so as not to abuse or indenture workers.
Right.
And so, employers had to pay at least X amount per hour when it came into place, so as not to indenture workers or kind of quote unquote enslave workers. People who, that's where the old saying, sold my soul to the company store, because you wind up going to work in a place and be paid so little and wind up getting your clothes, goods, food, such from the company store and going in debt. And then you would work off your debt before you could leave the employer.
Yeah, and Pete, I want to chime in here, Pete. I think where Deke's going, because we can get into a minimum wage discussion, but we know from history that the best way to have wages go up has nothing to do with the minimum wage. It has to do with a booming economy where employers have to compete for workers, and that's how true wage increases are really impacted. Yeah, you can artificially do it maybe a little bit with what's going on right now, because I do agree with you, Pete. We'll probably see some wages a little higher for a while because they're competing with the government spending. But once that does stop, you'll probably see that settle a little bit and go back to more free market as we started the discussion. But at the end of the day, the best way to increase wages is a healthy economy where you as an employer have to offer someone more money to get them to come to work for you.
That is true. That's part of the free market structure, which we didn't get into.
Not the capitalists.
Because it was boring.
Because it was boring. And this is all very boring, too, other than to anybody who really wants to hear it. But
there's no minimum wage here in Singapore. So there's no mandated minimum wage here in Singapore.
No mandate. So employers pay what they're capable of paying.
Yes, so we are based on what you just said, something like free market. Yeah, it's right. So if let's say you work at McDonald's, I think McDonald's is paying here in Singapore is like $7.50 Singapore an hour. That works out to about $5 US an hour.
So that's lower than ours, yeah. Lower
there are
than
kids
wage,
in McDonald's here. I know one specifically who are making $14 an hour because they are having a hard time pulling people in.
Right.
I don't know that if we see a settle in wages done after this, it's going to be very minimal.
I agree.
But I think that's because, and again, it is part of the whole free market thing. But see, I hate it when people say, oh, you need to give someone a living wage. No, you don't. You need to be able to pay people and attract people based on what you offer, what you do, and the fact that they want to work there, or they have the skill level to work there and come in. And that's what you should be able to do as an employer. And if you can't pay enough to meet the market and you're not attracting the people you need, that's on you.
And you're going to die. Your business will die. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, Melinda, thank you so much. Should I just go get the dictionary and start reading that? Because it'd probably be just about as freaking entertaining.
Melinda, that's because you just tune in on Fridays.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, you hear this sumbitch every day.
It gets kind of old, doesn't it, Deke? Yeah. It grates on you after a while, doesn't it, Deke?
Man. Oh, I'm kidding you.
Yeah.
So here, and Sal puts up some math, right? Well, Shayna says, hey, typically people that make $15 an hour spend every dollar they make. Now, typically people who make $100,000 a year in America spend $150,000. They're so far in debt, it's ridiculous.
Sadly true.
Right? So it doesn't matter how much you make. The American way is get in debt, have a lot of payments, credit cards, cars, homes, boats, RVs, whatever, right? Don't save money, spend more than you have. That's the American way, unfortunately, right? So it doesn't.
And I'll attest to that because when I first visited the US in 2015, I was in Arizona and I went to the convenience store to buy a can of Coke, and I brought a lot of cash exchange from Singapore to the US. But then I saw this couple walking by 4 beers and you're paying with a credit card. I was like, yeah, we don't really pay with credit cards here in Singapore for drinks. It's totally it's like, I mean, it was less than $10 US, but you're paying a credit card with a surcharge or whatever on it, administrative fee for $10 for 4 bottles of beer for $10. Like, nah, that doesn't work here in Singapore. No.
Right. See, so that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And then Sal says, hey, $11.15 an hour, times 40 hours, 23,000.
Yeah, 23,192.
Right. And that's a living wage?
It doesn't matter. If that's what your skill and ability allows you to earn, that's where you're at, and you have to figure out how to live within those means. That is very, very difficult. That means you're probably going to have a roommate or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And so there is no response. This is what drives me up a freaking wall. There is no responsibility to any employer anywhere, I don't care where you are, to provide a living wage.
Right.
That's not a responsibility.
What people miss, because I'm so with you, Pete, that it's aggravating that it's the responsibility of an employer to pay you enough money to live on. That's not what a company is about. Yeah. They're about producing goods and services that other people want to buy, and the market does determine that. And so it's just it is so frustrating because at the end of the day.
Right. And because I'm a capitalist and I own the company, I'm going to get away with the least amount of money out of my pocket.
Right.
And there's going to be other people that will potentially offer employees more money, and that's how the wages go up. But because the point that people miss, okay, tomorrow you pay all those people that are making $8 an hour, $15 an hour. Nothing changes financially for those people. Why? Because everything becomes more expensive. So it's all we're doing is saying, okay, now you make $15 an hour and it's not a living wage because everything is more expensive. And it's like, so you're just
correct.
It's what good does it do? It doesn't change anything other than making some people feel good that they're saying we're paying, we're making other people pay more money. Now I feel good, even though it's not really having any positive impact on the people that I now feel good about. That's what's frustrating about it is we'd look at the intention, not the impact or the result. The result would not help those people. Helping people develop their skills and moving up the job chain and making more money that way. But that's somewhere along the line we decided that's wrong thinking, and that blows me away because we're not doing anybody any favors by doing what we're talking about right now. And it just is frustrating because I want people to be better. Not just some people to feel better because they recommended something that doesn't make a difference.
So you're saying that $15 an hour is the wrong thing to do?
Well, why not make the minimum wage $50 an hour?
The number is arbitrary, is what Don is saying.
But if it's 15, why not? Again, if that's a good thing to make it 15, I'm not kidding. Why not make it $50 an hour, $100 an hour is the minimum wage?
But the market will decide whether it will work or not. It will be, if let's say we make it up to 50, it will be entirely up to the market to decide whether would that $50 work. And if it doesn't work, then the ones that lose out will be the ones that are not going to get the $50.
Well, sadly, in some cities where they've mandated $15 an hour, a lot of people have ended making $0 an hour because the employers can't afford 15, so they have now 10 employees instead of 20 employees.
Yeah.
And so the other 10 employees are out of work. I mean, it's and again, maybe some people would rather be out of the job than get, $12 an hour, $11. I don't know what the magic number is, but that's a reality, because it's not like these employers that are paying $10 an hour are just sitting on a bag of cash. And as soon as the government says you have to pay 15, they open up the bag of cash or get the boatload open, right, Pete?
Right.
No, they're making decisions. They go, well, here's my expenses. Here's my income. Well, I can't afford to pay 20 people $15 an hour. So I guess I'm going to have to go down to 16 people. And now I got to figure out, how do I provide a level of service for my customers that won't run off customers to make my business even worse? Those are the real-time decisions people are making.
They are.
Just get ignored by the people that make these policy decisions that have never met a payroll.
And Tim, if I could, I would shake your hand heartily through the screen.
What did he say?
I'd almost feel like hugging you, but I just can't do it. I cannot hug any.
Tim is just saying something mean in there.
No. Tim is saying something dead on, accurately correct. If you can only
applies here.
A family of one, then you shouldn't have a family of three. It's not an employer's responsibility to support your family. It's yours. Now, behind that, many people will say...
That's what's so sad, is that's crazy talk in our society today, which is so sad.
Here's why it's crazy talk, is because how dare you? How dare you mandate or tell me how many people I can bring into this world? We don't have that here. The idea that you could possibly restrict someone or call someone to the mat to be culpable for their own procreation in our society here is abhorrent. It truly is. Now, it's responsible if you stop and think about it. And good God knows that, and Kent, you can smack me down for using God in this, but I will say God knows, because you know what my belief system is. God knows that were it not for the support of my in-laws, my family there were times when my family could have wound up living in a van down by the river.
Or a refrigerator box even.
Man, if we had a nice one.
And speaking of that, we are looking for sponsors here, 216.
We are. Absolutely.
I agree with what Tim said. This is the mantra here in this country. There's in case any of the listeners are not aware, so there's no such thing as social welfare in Singapore, or actually in a lot of Asian countries, there's no such thing as social welfare.
Did not know that.
Hey, if you want to have, there's no such thing as free medical care or things like that. No, there is such a thing as co-payment. So you are responsible for your own health.
Right.
The government can help you to subsidize. For example, if you have chronic situation, the government will subsidize your fees or your medication, but it's never 100%. You still have to pay maybe between 10 to 20 to 30%, depending on your age, depending on your income. So it is your responsibility to also take care of your health. There's no such thing as, I'm just going to just sit there, drink 10 bottles of beer every hour, and then I get obesity, I get chronic disease, I walk into a hospital and I get free medical care for the rest of my life. Now, this thing doesn't fly here. And what Tim says is correct. If you can't... So we have programs here that help the lower income earners. I need to stress, it's the lower income earners. Which means, let's say you're earning only 1,200. So, but the programs are very practical. So they give you a $300 voucher for free groceries. It is only for groceries, right? If you want your cigarettes and your beer, no, there's no such thing, right? So it is for necessity. So the utility boards can even give you a prepaid card for perhaps $100 worth of electricity or water in your meter. This is practical solution. There is no way is any cash handed out to you for you to go willy-nilly spending it on anything else that doesn't affect your family. So
yeah, it
this
sounds like, Gary, it sounds like you guys in Singapore, it sounds to me as if you in Singapore value personal responsibility more than
Yeah.
we do in
Well,
America.
actually, it's in Asia. Actually, it's Asia. It's not only
Asian
here.
culture.
It's the whole. Yeah, it's the whole Asian culture, which is more on society as a whole, as
Mhm.
opposed to the individual rights.
Interesting. And yeah, we do have programs that you can only spend money on certain things too, but we also have a lot of programs that there's really not a lot of restrictions on what people do with the.
I mean, that probably explains the debt that the US is having. I mean, the amount of debt, social welfare debt, and social debt that the US is carrying is just unimaginable to us.
Well, that's why, again, one of my pet peeves is, free from the government. It's taxpayer funded. I wish we would use that term more often because it's. I think there are a lot of people that don't realize, well, they just don't. A lot of people don't pay attention to politics and what's going on, so they have no idea that we're 20-some trillion in debt and what impact that could be. And I mean, there's a lot of people think it's just like free money.
It's a non-fathomable number, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
People
it's just so crazy now; it doesn't even register. Right?
People cannot wrap their heads around that. There's literally not enough cash on this planet, not enough gemstones, not enough gold, nothing that we place monetary value in to pay the debt of the United States of America.
Yeah, Gary, I don't know if I shared this last week.
Exist.
I don't know if I shared this last week, so I apologize if I'm repeating. But yeah, that if they took every dollar from every billionaire in the United States of America, it would fund the government for 6 months.
Yeah. So
and that's scary to think about, isn't it? Every dollar from liquidated every billionaire in the U.S., it would fund the government for 6 months.
Well, you probably get lesser from Bill Gates now that he has given half to Melinda.
I mean,
I hope they'll be okay.
They're amicable.
Yeah.
They're amicable.
So, guys, we're right about 4 minutes left here. It turns out I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much. I was really bored at the beginning. So,
I love talking about
Ken, Gary, thank you for saving
the bottom line is, in America, we have to live a different lifestyle, right? So the interesting thing is, everybody is in debt up to their. I mean, listen, and don't kid yourself. I sell money for a living.
Right? No, he does.
These are the people's biggest purchases. I mean, trust me, I'm giving people $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 out of whack, right? Saying you're in my indentured. You're going to be with me for 30 years, people, right?
No. So Stephen Deek says I'm giving.
Right. So the interesting thing is, there was a time where we here in America said, I don't want to pay that much for long distance. And it was maybe $70. Now, my daughter just went out and bought an $1,800 phone. And she looked at me, I go, listen, my first car was $300. I'm not paying $1,800 for something you're going to want to get rid of in 2 years. That's ridiculous. It's not and I try to tell her, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the phone you have. I don't think that, but she wanted it. So I go, hey, that's your money. If that's the way you want to spend it, but understand once it's gone, it's gone. And when you want something else, you look at that phone and go, that's it. So the idea is, if more Americans, right, it has nothing. The minimum wage wouldn't be a problem if people didn't have $300 cell phone bills. They didn't have to wear $200 tennis shoes. They didn't drive a $60,000 pickup truck.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to take a look at. We here in America have we want to blame everybody else except ourselves. And we put ourselves into this position because of our greed, because we have to have, do you really need, I mean, every Christmas there are giant screen, flat screen TVs go on sale. Yeah. And it's got one more pixel, so I have to get it. Well, there is nothing wrong with the TV that you got last year.
No.
Right. So we feel, and we have created this. So you need to be mad at Americans for being just idiots.
Fat, dumb, and happy. Fat, dumb, and happy.
That's it.
We got to move away. I think for the society as a whole in America, I think most people have to sit down, really seriously think about it, and start to slowly divest away from the entitled mentality, which has been, I think, so self-absorbent in the society as a whole, that you're entitled to everything that comes out. I think they have to move away from that. And I think once you move away from that, it will actually help to improve a lot of the lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
Deke, you're so right. And I tell you what, I mean, I think one of the benefits of age is you figure these things out. I mean, because I certainly think a lot differently about what I want or need than I did when I was 25 years old. But boy, if that's one thing that I could say, if I could know then what I know now, that would be one of those things that all the stuff means nothing, you know. All the stuff means nothing.
Nor do they go 4-wheel driving in their 4-wheel $60,000.
Oh, have you seen the rims on some of those things?
I know.
You can't take those anywhere off a rim.
But you know, somebody looks at them and goes, "Wow, they have a cool truck."
And we lead by example. Yeah. Guys, we're down to less than a minute. I really appreciate this morning. Thank you so much. Hopefully, we will figure out what has happened to the one of the G's here, Scott Giles.
Yeah,
please let us know. Hopefully he's safe and well and good. But until next week at 7:30, I've been Uncle Pete, and that's been Kent Jones, and that's been Don Severson, and that's been Gary Ong. How do I say your last name, Gary?
Got
it. Great. So that's been all of us here, and Shayna, and Salvador, and Tim, and everybody else who's been commenting, Linda and Melinda, and everybody, all the peoples, Ted, Lisa. I'm going to have to get my Miss Sally magic mirror out. And I see you all. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Have a good weekend.
See you, Gary.
See you.